Hi everyone, welcome to My Opinions Are Trash. Today I will be ranking the Season 1 Spongebob episodes. There are so many episodes that were good this season, and it's so hard to rank them, but I'm going to do my best. For this video, I'm just going to go in chronological order rather than trying to rank them all individually. So first we have Help Wanted. I have to give this one credit because it was the very first SpongeBob episode, and it deserves a place close to the top for that reason. However, it isn't as interesting as some of the others, so I have to put it in B. Next we have Reef Blowers. Honestly not the most memorable of episodes. I had to go back and watch to remember what happens. I'll just put it in C tier. Tea at the Treatum is one of the best ones. We are introduced to Sandy, SpongeBob nearly died trying to impress her, Patrick teaches him to be fancy. It's definitely one of my favorites. I'll put it in A. Now we have Bubble Stand. When I think of this one, I think of SpongeBob's iconic bubble blowing method and then him driving Squidward to insanity at the end. Again, one of the best ones. It belongs in A. Ripped Pants. I couldn't put this one anywhere else. It's too iconic. Next we have Jellyfishing. Okay, so I'll admit that while this one had one moment that was funny, it is kind of boring compared to some of the other episodes. So I'm going to have to put it in C. Plankton. Plankton is one of my favorites early on, for this moment alone. And of course, it's Plankton's introduction, it deserves to be an A, right after Tea at the Treatum. Naughty Nautical Neighbors. This is probably my least favorite episode of this season. I don't really like to see SpongeBob and Patrick be dicks to each other. Boating School. This is another one of those that I personally don't really find interesting, so I'm going to put it in D. Sorry to those who like this one. Pizza Delivery. I can't think of a more memorable episode this season. Of course this has earned its place in S tier. The whole episode is perfect from beginning to end. From SpongeBob taking them to the middle of nowhere, the song, the rock, and then seeing Squidward stand up for SpongeBob in a moment that will make anyone who's ever worked in customer service cheer. This is by far my favorite episode this season. Home Sweet Pineapple. This is a good one. Especially when Patrick starts beating him in his sleep, that moment never fails to make me laugh. I'll have to put this one right after Plankton. Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy. This is probably one of the funniest episodes. Plus, this is the first time we actually get to see the two heroes, so it makes it even better. I'll put it in A. Poor SpongeBob loses his ability to function when he can't cope with his own perfectionism. And damn, if that wasn't me in high school. We're just gonna put this one here. Hall Monitor. This will always be one of my favorites. I had this episode on VHS, and I watched it religiously. It's one of the most underrated ones. We have SpongeBob causing trouble around town, trying to catch a maniac without realizing that it's actually him. Plus, he breaks into someone's house to teach them a lesson, calling himself the open window maniac, and I laugh every single time. This is one of the best ones. Jellyfish Jam. I like this one okay. I don't really have much to say about it. I'm just gonna put it in B. Next we have Sandy's Rocket, which I always considered to be one of my favorites. Just the first incident of SpongeBob and Patrick kidnapping Bikini Bottom out of pure stupidity once again. Classic them. We'll put it in A. Squeaky Boots. Oh my god, I had nightmares about that noise as a kid. We'll put it in C. Nature Pants. I will always love this one because it's one of the first episodes I remember watching. Patrick was my favorite part of this episode, and I quote this all the time. I think it deserves to be an S tier. Opposite Day. Of course this is one of the best ones. Poor Squidward. And I mean this Squidward. We will put this one in S where it belongs. Culture Shock. This is a good one. I really do think SpongeBob genuinely enjoys fucking with Squidward, but sometimes he deserves it. I'll put this in B. Fun. This is one of the best because of the song alone. That is why it's going straight to S tier, and no one's going to convince me otherwise. Muscle Bob Buff Pants. This is one of my least favorite episodes this season, just because we know SpongeBob is going to embarrass himself. That is something I don't really like watching, so I'm going to put it in D tier. Squidward the Unfriendly Ghost. One of my favorite tropes is when a character thinks the other is dead when they are not. So of course I like this episode. Squidward is just kind of an asshole here, so I'm going to put it in B. The Chaperone. It's a cute little episode, but not necessarily one of the most memorable ones. I'd say it belongs in B. Employee of the Month. I like this one because SpongeBob and Squidward's pettiness here was pretty funny. Unfortunately, it also wasn't the most memorable because I had to rewatch it to remember what happened in this episode. I'd say it belongs in B tier. Scaredy Pants. I like a good Halloween episode. It had its moments. I'll just put it in B. I Was a Teenage Gary. This is my friend's favorite episode, and I can see why. It's a good one for sure. Years ago, she said her reason for liking it was that we can see that Squidward really did intend on feeding Gary, but he just got distracted, as he seemed deeply concerned whenever he realized he forgot. And I agree with this. It's a pretty good episode. Also, we love some good nightmare fuel around here. This belongs in A. SB-129. This is one of my favorite episodes of all time. So many good memes came from this one, and it's one I always like to rewatch. Plus, are we going to talk about this creepy-ass moment? This belongs right at the top. Karate Choppers. This is a fun episode. Sandy and SpongeBob were adorable, and the picnic scene is one of my favorites. I'll put this in A after Bubble Stand. Sleepy Time. I really liked this episode when I was a kid. It has a really cool concept, and I thought it was pretty cute. I'll put it in A. Suds. This is one of the funniest episodes, mostly because of Patrick and his attempt to be a doctor, which only makes SpongeBob more sick. It's a good one. We will put this in A. The Valentine's Day episode. This was another one that I watched a lot as a child, and it had its moments that made me laugh. But God, Patrick acted like a dick. This will go in B tier. I'll be honest, it's funny enough, but just not as good as some of the others, so I'll put it at the end of B tier. R. I like this one for two moments. SpongeBob yelling at Mr. Krabs about going to bed, and Patrick thinking the compass said west, which reminds me of how bad I am with directions, so I think it belongs in A, of course. Rock Bottom. This is always a good one. I thought it was the funniest episode ever the first time I saw it. It's definitely one of the more memorable ones. However, I'm going to put it in A because this is really hard to pick between them, and there's so many others that I unfortunately like better. Stupid. This whole episode is perfect throughout. Very memorable, very funny, a little emotional. I think this is not only one of the highlights of the season, but also the series itself. I will put this one in S tier. Walking Small. This one hasn't always been one of my favorites, but I do think it's funny when Plankton tries to teach SpongeBob to be aggressive and it doesn't work out for him at all. I'm going to put it in B tier. Fools in April is one of the ones that most people don't seem to like, and I can see why, as I am one of them. Squidward was such a douchebag in this episode. It's not the season's best, which is why it belongs in D tier. Neptune's Spatula. It has its moments. It's one of those where when you compare it to other episodes, it's not as good, but I still like it. I'll put it in B tier. Hooky. This was one that for some reason I really liked as a kid. I think I just thought it was funny when SpongeBob had to take off his pants. It isn't really one that I would consider to be the best, but it's still pretty good. Patrick was kind of annoying in it. I'll put it in B. Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 2. I usually like any episode that have Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy in it. I just thought this one was pretty weak compared to their other episodes, but it's still a good one, and mostly memorable for the song. I'll put it in B tier. Alright, this is what my tier officially looks like. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll post season 2 sometime. Thanks for watching.